I have to mute the intro music, guys. Sorry about that. I'll get flagged.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to League of Extraordinary Inventors. I'm your host, Mike from Faraday Research. It is Friday night, Free Energy Fridays. Welcome to the show. It's January 17th, 2025. Welcome to the show, everybody. How's everybody doing?
I'm doing good.
Awesome.
Yeah, here.
It's the day of the alignment of the planets today, actually.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Wow, cool. I knew it was coming up soon. So, yeah. I wonder what interesting anomalies will be happening with all the planets going into alignment. Now, I understand this only happens like every so often. So I'm not sure what it is, how, if it's like 1,000 years or 30 years, or I'm not sure. I didn't really do my homework on that one.
Yeah. I was hoping to get usually the Astrolab. They got good pictures of this phenomenon, but I checked and they didn't have anything. I'm surprised. But apparently the planets are brighter right now tonight or something like that.
App images of a video I saw maybe a couple of weeks ago on what was going to happen. So I can send you those, but the alignment. So it's going to be like complete synchronicity for a bit.
Yeah. So it's like 4 planets are aligned, but not obviously not all of them, but I don't know. Maybe it's astrology. If you believe in astrology, then a lot of people are gonna say that it's the year of the snake also.
I was year of the ox.
Yeah.
1973.
I don't know. I don't follow. I don't believe in the whole
the zodiacs. This was the Chinese zodiac.
Yeah.
So supposedly I'm year of the ox. So.
Yeah, me and the year of the snake. So it should be my year right now. But it's just obviously I'm like Lulu. I don't believe in that, but I'm just saying it because it's funny.
Well, the ancients really looked to the stars, and obviously they were way ahead of us when it comes to tracking all this stuff. Mind you, we don't know exactly what tech that they had back then, but it was obvious that they were watching the sky at that point in history.
Yeah.
And they knew, and also the pyramids of Giza.
It's great. like the Olympians and the Titans and all the, the ancient, like, stories, the,
Mhm.
the Greek gods and stuff like that. That's where a lot of the, those signs are attributed to. And,
Well, like
Hmm.
the
Yeah.
ancients, they were. I think they viewed extraterrestrial as the gods, and I think that's pretty obvious because
Yeah.
their intellect back then, they didn't know what alien is. If we said alien to them, they wouldn't know what the heck we were talking about. To them,
Yeah.
it was gods, right?
Yeah.
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 So that's exactly what it is. So gods, they talk about these titans coming down, and there is biblical reference to the Nephilim and the giants, and then um, that it was taken out of the Bible, the book of Enoch. That was part of the original book of the in the Bible. But if you look at any modern day biblical text, they don't have the book of Enoch in there. Why? Why was it removed? There
Oh,
had
yeah.
to have been a reason why it was removed.
Interesting.
So, yeah, that's my take on it. Anyways, whether I'm right, whether I'm wrong, it's just an
no,
idea, right?
Interesting to think about too.
archaeological records says that. It says it's pre-Bible, it's Abrahamic religions. It's like much older than that. And so, if the Bible or the Torah or the Quran decided to omit that, it's a form of keeping control,
Mm.
of something else. Like it would be hard for people to believe that maybe what we know today was built on an older foundation, so it's just hard.
Yeah, like as far as I know, like I follow Randall Carlson, and he's been studying geology and ancient catastrophes and stuff like that. And he says that the Earth went through 6 major resets, meaning almost all of humanity was completely wiped off the planet and started over again.
Oh, yeah.
And while the Atlanteans were one of those people that had a cataclysm and they were wiped out. So
And this isn't including the like the catastrophe back when humanity supposedly didn't exist, like during the dinosaurs extinction era,
well,
right? This is
that's
just
what
like
they
humanity
think.
era.
It's funny you mention that, Ben, because I've seen some shows where they're showing dinosaur footprints and human footprints side by side.
Right. Well, I mean, that's interesting too, and then I'm not disregarding that. I'm just saying, like, in terms of like the chronology, like the timeline
Mm.
of like human existence. Are we just talking about like that time frame, or are we talking about the entire, existence of the planet?
Yeah, the
We're
entire existence of humanity on the planet, which obviously either it's been very well hidden from us, or
mm,
we've just everything was wiped out. There was no historical written text or record of the existence of these prior civilizations that experienced extinction events, like either a
mm,
comet hit or floods or whatever it may be. To the point where that we don't have an actual text saying in whatever language saying that humanity was almost completely wiped out. We don't have that. There is nothing to go on, right?
No,
So
there are some ancient cuneiforms like Sumerian times, the king's lists. There's a little bit that depicts the story of the flood, but again, that's what I was saying, that our belief system might have been built on an older foundation. Not,
sure,
yeah,
I don't doubt that for a second, Lulu. But what I'm saying is there probably were civilizations even prior to this.
right.
Like
Okay, I see what you're saying.
because they're dating. I think the pyramids at 30,000 years ago.
Mm,
I think the pyramids go way beyond that. I think they go 60 or 100,000 years before the Egyptians even got there. I really honestly believe that the Egyptians inherited the pyramids.
Hmm.
So at that point in history, I think the pyramids were originally designed as a terraforming machine as well as an energy machine. That's what I believe. That's my opinion. Before that, until when the Egyptians inherited the pyramids were already wrecked. They weren't working anymore.
Hmm.
So,
I think it's safe to assume at this point that all the evidence, the new evidence that we have, points to more towards the pyramids having a specific function rather than being some kind of tomb.
yeah, it
That
wasn't
they
a tomb at all.
don't hold up anymore.
I agree with that
Yeah,
theory.
I agree with it too because they never found any coffins inside the pyramid. Around the
Or
pyramid, yes.
yeah, or hieroglyphics. You know, they like to paint everything in stories, and if it
Mhm.
was a tomb, you would think they would paint the pharaoh's, story all over the walls. And
If
no,
Yeah,
ever a dynasty took over, they repainted over the old ones, so you don't know which one's right, which one, and if there's a true
that's exactly
chronological order
yeah.
to stories. It's just
That's exactly true, and that's a problem with dating too. Exactly. You
yeah.
you raise an important red flag in modern archaeology.
See, there's also evidence to prove that that area where the pyramids of Giza are was a lush forest area. Um, I know they've done archaeological digs, not specifically in the region where the pyramids are, but around the outside of the pyramids. They found some structures that obviously could suggest that at one point in history, that area was not a desert at all. And now it is. Now, the question is, why
Yeah,
is
that's
it
true.
a desert now?
Hmm.
What happened at whatever point in history did the area churn from a lush green growing area to a desert?
Well, there was supposedly an explosion in the pyramid. What if it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing
Well, I think personally,
regarding
from some
terraforming?
of the, yeah, it was terraforming the planet, I believe. And uh, if you look at the geological location of the pyramids, it's directly center of all the ley lines on the planet. They
Hmm.
all come in alignment with the Great Pyramids of Giza.
that's very interesting.
Also, yeah, also some of the
Yeah, I don't think that's an
pyramids.
accident. Nothing about the
No,
pyramids'
no, it's
location or
not.
structure was an accident. It was all
No,
precise and intentional.
exactly, exactly. Now the question is, okay, if they had such huge knowledge like this, what point in history was this happening?
Hmm.
And obviously, either it's been hidden from us or that information has been lost over time because of
Yeah.
these six major cataclysms that hit the planet in our past that we have no recollection or way of gaining knowledge of what happened at that time period. We just don't have it.
Yeah, I'll give you two examples: the fires in the Library of Alexandria, and then also the supposed library that's under the Sphinx that we can't explore because it's in lockdown.
Yeah. And why is it in lockdown? So anytime
Yeah.
somebody locks down something, they're
Mhm.
hiding something. It's
Yeah.
a straight
Like the
given.
Vatican Library. Yep.
Oh, even the Vatican Library. You can't go and walk right into the Vatican Library and start picking up a book and reading it. You have to have an invite. You
Hmm.
have to, yeah. And you have to know exactly what you want to read, and you have to know exactly where it is in the library before they would actually allow you to go into the Vatican logs and
So you're
start.
saying it's like serving a warrant. You have to know exactly what you're looking for
Mhm.
before you get in there. You can't
Yeah,
just go in browsing. Wow.
yeah, yeah. It's crazy. It's just
Mm.
wild what the
What,
level of suppression, right?
like two things. In the biblical books, it does describe that Egypt was a lush ground and fertile and abundance and all sorts of wildlife and so like biblical books did describe that of that time period. But how old does it go? Nobody knows. But there was in the belief systems there was a description of that time. Like you could go back into any of the books. It has a reference of such a description of the Pharaoh's land. So
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah. I mean,
That's interesting. I'm gonna do a search using ChatGPT actually because ChatGPT already covers that. So I'm gonna ask ChatGPT these questions. I already started learning history using ChatGPT. It's very efficient.
They
Yeah.
have a new version now that has a face and a voice, so it'll talk back to you.
It's just getting creepier and creepier, isn't
that's
At
scary.
some point, it's gonna morph into Terminator and say, "You cannot escape anymore. You're surrounded."
it? You know what? No, in my childhood, there was this show I used to watch. Probably everybody's heard of it. It's called Knight Rider.
Oh
The
yeah,
talking car.
Yeah, with the
yeah.
black.
You know, I think that's going to become a reality sooner than I think, because you eventually you're going to get AI in your car.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's the next step. I think that's where we're
I
headed.
think you're right.
Yeah,
They're already trying.
yeah. I'm pretty sure that's the next step. I think probably by 2027 we're going to start seeing AI showing up in your car. So,
Isn't it already so in there? Like,
well, they're doing the self-driving cars, right? So that's AI right there.
yeah.
And also like drive assist in the Teslas, you can just take your hands off the steering wheel and it starts driving on its own. So, they're already kind of using it, but not like ChatGPT in the car. So that's what I'm kind of thinking that.
Hopefully, there's a boost button that you can use to jump. Remember that boost button?
Turbo boost. Yeah, the turbo boost. And it will play the actual Knight Rider theme song. Oh, that was my favorite show. Oh,
Yeah, me too. When I
1982 Pontiac Firebird.
I was trying to go very fast with my BMX right after seeing that show, so I was trying to mimic the Night Rider.
Yeah. Well, I'm old enough to remember the Dukes of Hazzard. That was another one that was my favorite. It was Dukes of Hazzard, Knight Rider, and what was the other one? There was another one.
Visitors V.
Oh, V. I remember V. Yeah, I used
Yeah.
to watch that too. Yeah, that was a good series. I don't know that that V could become real if they're lizard people.
But I was watching that show, and back then there was it was normal to be part of the rebels of the or the resistance or things like that. But these days, if you're a rebel or part of the resistance, they're gonna call you names like conspiracy theorists and things like that, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, anybody who goes against the grain.
Yeah.
Why don't they call us believers? I mean, why does it have to be conspiracy theorists? It's like, okay, we're believers.
Because it's a way of smearing us. It's just
we're believers. That's all.
Everybody has
it's a large misnomer that all conspiracy theories are ridiculous. Conspiracy theories happen all the time. There's a conspiracy theory that was proven to happen with the JFK assassination. So,
well, look at the whole UFO thing. That was the biggest conspiracy theory of all time. And now it's becoming not a conspiracy theory. It is now conspiracy.
Yeah, people used to laugh at the ideas that they're actually discussing in the Congress. Like, I'm just like,
yeah. So
I'm 100% believer in their existence. Like beyond the shadow of a doubt. I have proof that I recorded myself before this whole, drone thing and years before. So they do. But what happened to you, a little while back, like that was pitiful. Really, that was real.
Yeah, the first AI thing that I've seen in on the big screen had to have been 2000 Space Odyssey with the computer. So that was kind of our first introduction to AI. And that was what, 1977,
Hmm.
1978, and then 2001 Space Odyssey came out, the sequel. So I think that was our kind of first exposure by Hollywood to
Yeah.
to
How?
show us the time when computers are going to become sentient, and I guess I don't know if you want to call it consciousness or whatever you want to call it, but
Mm.
it was kind of our first little tidbit from the powers to be to show us that this stuff here is coming. It's on the way.
Mm.
It's going to be a
Yeah.
reality. So
Oh yeah.
Here we are 40 years later, and it's here. It took 40 years, but it was here. So
Yeah. We have AI writing denial letters for healthcare insurance companies. So it's it's already affecting us. We don't even know it.
yeah. Now the thing is how far this AI is going to go. So it's like
Well,
trying to police it, right?
I know it's going to be used to disinform us, like the mainstream media is already doing.
Well, it's
They
a
will,
weapon. They're
they,
going to
they,
weaponize it.
they will use it to brainwash the society,
It's a
to change the history or whatever.
It's I see it. It's a perfect opportunity to use it as a weapon against our mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the only way to override any AI and to bypass the AI to a real person or something higher, you have to, in any programming, say if a person is willing to add a comment, a full comment against whatever options the AI gave it, because the AI at the end of the day is just somebody programmed it with a certain set of options, and that's it. There's no other, or would you like to leave a comment for somebody to review, and but if we build them with that in mind, so we know that the AI is even if it doesn't capture all of the pre-programmed options, that somebody from like the original programmers would catch it on the comment section if a person is willing to go through and write it right. I mean, that would be one control mechanism that AI could be still controlled by people and not let
You
it.
know what? It's kind of a sad reality, but if it was created by a human, it's going to be abused.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what? It's in our DNA to be destructive, and it's just one more tool, one more weapon in the arsenal to use against the people. And that's a sad reality of our existence in this society that we live in.
Yeah,
And
I don't necessarily believe that. I think all the evidence supports that people are cruel when the real life material conditions are fight or flight. When you have your basic needs
Yeah.
taken care of, people are generally charitable.
Right, I agree with that too.
Hmm.
But it hasn't been going that way, Ben.
Oh yeah, no, I'm generally an optimist though when looking at the bigger picture,
Yeah,
and I don't think humanity is necessarily evil. I
right.
just think we're the byproduct of our environment. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. See,
well,
it's sad to think right now that 3 billion people on this planet, okay, and this is actually a real figure, 3 billion people on this planet right now don't have energy to cook their dinner.
Yeah.
They're cooking it over a fire.
Yeah. And that's I mean that's one of the reasons why I'm interested in renewable energy, because I
And
want to
of the
help
population
people.
is 8
Right.
billion. Is 8 billion.
Yeah, exactly. So think about it. 3 billion people don't have energy to cook their food on a stove. They have to
Yeah.
use fire. In the 21st century, we're at this point. I'm sorry, humanity. We're not doing good enough. We have to take a
yeah.
little bit, us as the humanity, we have to take a little bit of humility. Shame on us.
Well,
It shouldn't be like this.
it's not us. It's the 2% of the unelected official
No,
that
I
made the
understand
decision.
that, as I'm talking all as a collective, as a whole. It's like saying, pointing the finger at this person, pointing at this finger.
Yeah.
We're all made of the same blood. We all can fear. We can all hate. We have all the emotions. So we, as a society, the human race, we have to take a little bit of humility in this.
Yeah, but the unelected official, tell that to them. You know, it's like they're just
They don't care. Well,
yeah,
that's part of
Well,
our
there's more of
genetic.
us than there are of them, Phil. And
Yeah.
the sooner we realize that and wake up, you know what I mean? And it's like that old quote: "The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing." Right?
yeah, yeah. Good point.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I would agree with that.
I've been
But
fighting this since 2011, but I debated people on Facebook. You know, I said there's something wrong going on, and I debated it. And I lost people, I lost friends, but I don't really care because I know they're wrong, and I was on the right track.
Yeah, you got to
And
stand up for what you believe in.
exactly,
yeah,
you have to have a spine, you know.
Yeah.
yeah, you know what? It boils down to, if you know somebody wants to stray in a different direction and it goes against your fundamentals of beliefs, then you have to go the other direction too. You know, you can agree to disagree.
Exactly. If you know you're right, and the whole population is wrong, then so be it. You know, they're wrong. They're wrong,
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
I chose to find people that are right like me. And who cares about the rest of the population, whether they believe it or not? Find the ones that like actually have the same mindset. And it's just, at the end of the day, that's the best way to accomplish anything, rather than change people's minds. If they have it in them, they'll change. But
yeah,
here's another crazy statistic. I saw this. They were talking about kind of what we're talking about. The top 1% of the people in the world are basically us, making 30,000 US dollars a year. That's the top 1%
wow.
of the population on the planet. $30,000 US. That's it. That's the top 1%.
Yeah.
Isn't that startling? I'm like, what? Really? And when you think about it, how many countries they still live in basically shacks or stone homes. There's a number of countries still living like that in complete utter poverty. It's mind blowing to me that us we're the top 1% of the world population as far as living standard. I got a roof over my head. I have electricity. I got a computer in front of me. I have a family. I feed three. I'm the top 1%. I'm just like, wow, wow.
yeah.
You talking about of Canada?
Well, I'm talking worldwide.
What statistic are you referring to?
I was seeing this article online, and they were talking about pretty much what we're talking about. The top percent of the world. Actually, no. You know
The
who I heard
Western
it from?
countries.
I heard it from Jordan Peterson. That's who I heard it from. He
Oh,
was talking
okay.
about
Yeah,
this.
Jordan Peterson isn't the most reliable source for that kind of information
He
because but based on all statistics, the top 1% of the world in terms of income earners, they own more than the bottom half of the entire planet in terms
No,
of
I think
wealth.
it's they're actually under 1%. Those guys that run the planet. There's 12 families that pretty much run this planet. That's not many people.
Yeah,
Russia,
about
the
10 or
Russia,
20
they own
people,
like
about 10 or 20 people on the planet own more wealth than the bottom half of the planet.
Mm,
Yeah.
the Russia, they own like 10% of the world's wealth,
yeah.
He
and
might have
that's
been
it.
referring to like working class people in terms of like
Yeah,
working
no,
class people. Yeah.
I'm talking first world nations.
First world nations. Yeah, because without the specific like reference for that statistic, I kind of am questioning like what it's referring to specifically.
Yeah, I'm talking first world nations,
Like
basically us, the
GDP?
middle class America. We're the top 1% of breadwinners in the world, right? Like, say I were to go to my wife's home country of the Philippines, I could live literally like a king for $1,000 Canadian a month. That's like about 800 US dollars. And I could live the lifestyle that I'm living here, there, okay, and have a live-in maid every day of the week for 800 US dollars a month. That's pretty mind-boggling when you think about it.
I don't know. Should it be a good thing, like, or a bad thing? Like,
Well, it's just showing you the difference in lifestyles. I've been to the Philippines. I've traveled all over the Philippines. I've been to South Korea. So I've seen a completely different side of the planet than the average American has. You go to the South Philippines, where my wife is from, and you want a definition of poverty, there it is, right there. I've seen kids walking around with no clothes because they don't have any. That's how
Yeah,
poor they are.
just like in Cambodia, they walk on mines and they just
Yeah,
walk with
or a
with their
war-torn
hands.
country. It's even worse. But I've seen the poorest of the poor, and it's life-changing.
Yeah.
It is. It really is, because I've seen it firsthand. And I'm going these and the crazy part of all is everybody there is happy for what they have, and they got nothing.
Yeah,
They
you know the problem the problem with I think it's us we keep showing them, hey, look at, we go there and then we show them that we have the TV plans and a whole bunch of stuff. Now they start getting jealous, but if we don't tell them that, they will be happy, we don't brainwash them with what we have, then they'll be happy with what they have, you know what I
Right.
Well,
mean?
Well,
see, the problem is in North America, I found a lot of people have lost tune with core values.
mhm.
And one thing in the Philippines that really differs from Canada or America in general is the family is number one.
Yeah.
Okay, you always know you have a home with the family. And
Same thing with China.
yeah,
They live with their parents, or
yeah, yeah,
their grandparents, are they all in the same house.
yeah, yeah,
So they save a lot of time and money for that.
yeah, because that's the only way they can live. But guess what? The family sticks together. They're one in the family.
Yeah.
You always know you have a place to sleep at night. You always know, uh, with the family, you good chances you're going to have a meal at night.
Yeah.
Everybody works together. North America, where we live, everybody's lost tune. It's a doggy dog world here. Here,
Yeah. But we used to be like that too, but it all got
yeah, it's
corrupted over time.
it's completely corrupted now. Totally corrupted.
media.
Mike,
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that you were absolutely right, and Peterson was right. It was 0.1% that I was talking about.
Yeah,
I'm tired. I got my statistics off.
it's okay. It's no worries. No, I'm just
Media conditioning of the abnormal. That's what, how the core values have been tweaked, like,
they've been
oh,
totally eroded. They've been completely eroded.
because
I've
it's
seen
not cool
I,
to follow that kind of code. It's not cool.
I've seen families get destroyed where the parents die, okay, and there's an inheritance. The siblings start going at it and start fighting over money, and they will
Yeah.
screw over their own family member.
It's getting bad out there. It's getting bad out there.
I've seen it a few times. It's sick.
Yeah.
America is sick. Like Canada, North America, we're sick.
Yeah.
We've lost total complete tune with family values. It's really sad. It's really, really sad.
Well,
What
we let these big corporations walk all over us too.
what
It's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
what people don't understand and is if something bad happens to you, who's gonna be there to help you out? You know, your acquaintances, they're all gonna run away. And only your family is gonna be there and some close friends.
That's
So
absolutely right, Phil.
the
Absolutely.
rest, they're all gonna run away like little chicken.
Mm.
I agree.
But yeah, I guess yeah, we could go about this one all night, but
Where's our fifth inventor?
Yeah,
oh, what's happened with Nathan? I haven't heard from him. Is he sick or?
he got kidnapped by the Men in Black.
Don't joke about that. It might have been the Russians.
Yeah, he got abducted with T. Henry Morey. Yeah. Yeah, well, some stuff happens, things come up. I understand that. We still got a good crowd here tonight, and we got a live chat is open. Everybody, it's going strong. Yeah, we'll carry on. Philip, I know you had something you wanted to show us.
Yeah, it's a follow up on what I was talking last week about the simulation of the atoms and the quarks and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
And but right now it's pretty robust, and I'm just gonna show that to you. Um,
Oh, he's on grandpa duty.
oh,
Nathan's babysitting.
there you
All right, no problem. We got the show. Take the night off. Enjoy your grandkids, and yeah.
Family first.
Yep, exactly.
So yeah, so I'm gonna start with my little. Oh, I cannot show that window here.
Dude,
And I want to start with my little intro here. Look at that, that's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's gonna be my finite theory team window in the future. So I wanted to show you the. Remember last week I was talking about very quickly very quickly I was saying that I was resuming my work with the simulator, but now I got it. Like it's very precise down to the nuclear level and then the quantum level. And I'm gonna show you how an atom looks like first. So here's how atoms looks with their electrons moving around the nucleus. It's actually wobbling. The electrons are wobbling. They're not going a straight path like planets, but they're actually wobbling. That's because of the 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 quanta effects, the quantum effects. What we call a quantum actually is very simple. It's just a quantum is just a discrete value of a continuous curve. Like right here, you see the continuous blue curve. Quantum just means that it's rounded. That curve is kind of rounded to a nearest value, and it kind of scales up like stairs. Like it's very, it's square. It's not continuous, and so that's all it means. It's really so all these fancy words that they use. Oh, the quantum chromodynamics, blah blah. It just means that they use discrete rounded numbers. That's all it means. So it's very simple to understand. So yeah, on the left we see finite theory that considers time dilation, and on the right it's finite theory that considers time dilation, and on the left it's Newtonian quanta that is not affected by time dilation. They're a little bit faster. So yeah, so that's this is an atom of hydrogen actually with two electrons rotating around it, and now I'm gonna show you the quantum one. Um, Whoop, I forgot to zoom. So this is the quantum. This is the quarks actually. Um, so the quantum chromodynamics, the Yang Mills, or the gauge theory that Dr. Chester keeps referring to, is just a mathematical way to explain the behavior of quarks inside baryons. Baryons, it's a proton or neutron or things like that. So these are made out of quarks, and that's what it looks like, and that's how they behave. I have the simulation right here, so I'm able to simulate how quarks behave. So actually, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you here. Yep. This is how quarks are. This is the how they look like. So, and in my simulation, this is exactly what I'm showing off. So it's very similar. It's exactly the same thing. This is a tetra. This is a tetra quark actually. It's two ups and two downs. But yeah, so it's very simple. It's You don't need a PhD to like a 10 years doctorate degree to understand that. I did it in a week. So um, so yeah, that's what I want to show off here. And but yeah, it's very simple. It's
It looks interesting.
yeah. So that's how atoms and that's how quarks are behaving. And now I'm able to simulate it. And maybe I'm not to the right order of magnitude, but I just need to fine tune it to the quarks level. But quarks are actually weird because they have color charges and things like that. In my case, I just use a negative and a positive charge. But quarks are a little bit more complicated.
Now,
You have,
quarks. Question for you: quarks. Do they actually emit a photon?
no, they work with gluons. They emit gluons that ties them together. Well, according to the mainstream, but I'm gonna try to simplify all that to merge all that with my theory. But the mainstream says that they're tied with gluons, so they emit gluons.
Phil, you're able to simulate subatomic variations. Quarks are subparticles. You know,
yeah, exactly.
Like, man, like, you know the possibilities with that? Like, the code subatomic particles.
So if I'm able to simulate it, then we're able to replicate materials like science materials and things like that. We could replicate. I just use my laptop to do that, but if I use a supercomputer, we could easily replicate metamaterials and see the behaviors of photons and like light rays going through these materials and things like that. So we don't need CERN or anything if we could simulate it. You know what I mean? We don't need to build these $1 billion particle accelerators if we can just simulate it.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, the whole thing is to be able to do it, like to detect it digitally. If you're able to Simulate digitally, that means you could detect it digitally. You know, like what's
Yeah,
like what else could write it smaller than that? I mean, that's like the smallest of the small.
yeah. But
Well, think about it. Think about what Tesla said: energy, frequency, vibration. What's happening at that quantum scale? Energy, frequency, vibration.
Wow.
Am I
So
not right?
Phil, to understand a little better, because I'm a little behind you on the academics. Does this mean that you can actually predict like the position of particles, whereas like traditional physics can only say like it's going to be in one position or the other?
well, at the quantum level, they use statistics because they're not able to. They think it's all you can't predict where the position of the subatomic particles are going to be,
Mhm.
but it's easy to predict. I'm simulating
Yeah,
them,
so you're
so
saying you can simulate it,
yeah,
and whereas traditional physics can only say, oh, it might be here or it might be here. You're saying, oh, it's definitely here.
yeah, exactly. But
Wow, that's
quantum,
big.
yeah, quantum physics, but it's hard for them to observe where the particles really are, so that's why they use probabilities. But the reality is it's the core, the roots is not probabilities. It's all predictable mathematics, and but it's just that they can't they, they, they cannot predict them. They cannot observe them using lab equipment that that they have these days. So that's why they need to use probabilities. But
Right.
Sometimes I
ultimately, it's all predictable mathematics.
Is it,
sometimes I wonder if they make it more complicated than what it actually is.
Yeah, they like it to make it complicated. So they overrate what they're doing, but it's very simple. Initially, I didn't know what the hell Dr. Chester was talking about, but that's all it is. He's talking about quantum mechanics, chromodynamics. Actually, the Yang Mills is a subset of the gauge theory, which is a subset of the quantum chromodynamics. So that's all it is. It's all some sort of mathematics to explain the behaviors of these particles, of these subatomic particles, but they they they're very subjective and obscure. You know what I mean? And then we think it's very complicated and that we need like 3 PhDs to understand what they're talking about. But turns out it's very simple. I just show it to you.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I think they're making it a lot more complicated than what they lead it on to be.
Yeah, exactly.
isn't it like the options are 2 ups, 1 down, or 1 down, 2 ups, or something like that?
Yeah,
Make
exactly. The neutron is made of 1 ups, 2 downs, and the proton 2 ups, 1 down. Within the charges have a third or 2/3 of a positive charge or 1/3 of a negative charge. So yeah, so that's this world we're talking about.
so like the spin, or like it's spin. If it's 1/3, like 1/3 negative would be going down, 1/3 positive. The spin would be going up, like left hand,
And
right.
the spin they're talking about has nothing to do with the physical spin. It's not physically spinning. The spin is just a term they use to say what type of framework mathematical framework I'm gonna use. Spin zero means it's just a scalar. Spin one means it's a vector, and spin two means it's a tensor which is a matrix or linear algebra. So that's all. It's just a fancy word, fancy term to, but it's not a physical spin. It has nothing to do with that.
Oh, I thought like I.
Yeah, so they like to use confusing things to make it obscure because you know obscurity through complexity. That's the way they work. And
Yes, and you know what I say? Whenever you see something that is unnecessarily complex, always be skeptical that it is a pyramid scheme or a scheme of some sort.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, it turns out it's very simple, and that's all there is to it about it.
Cool.
Code like your own
Really
material,
good work, Phil.
right?
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
thanks.
It doesn't have to be like material to replicate anybody's lattice structure. You could create your own, right? With as a simulation with these.
Yeah, I just need to use my server here, and I can replicate materials in material science and all that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. Like see
Yeah,
some holds, or like yeah.
and I can find a way to, or chemistry. I could replicate chemistry ultimately. Find a way to create gold. Simulate the creation of gold through chemistry.
Well, you used a Moxy Fusion Generator. That does it right there.
Yeah.
You make gold. Used a tungsten steel, create the reaction, and the film will start forming on the outside of the reactor. It's gold.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
But is it more expensive to create it than it is to what you get?
Nope.
No.
They're very cheap to make.
Okay. Nice. So you can start your own bank.
Well,
Yeah, he's gonna have gold bars with his face printed on.
yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. um, yeah. I know there's. I'm trying to remember the guy's name. He was on. It's just recent too. I'm trying to remember what talk show it was on. But there's a guy here in North America. It's called the Moxy Generator. Kevin Schwartz. That's his name. Kevin Schwartz. He's making these Moxy generators. They're only about this big. They're not very big. But one thing has to be shielded by lead, because when you do this transformation or transmutation of the metal, X-rays get emitted. So back in the day, in the cold fusion era, Fleischmann and Pons, they were checking for radioactivity. They had a Geiger counter. And so anyways, they weren't picking up any radioactivity, but they didn't realize it was emitting X-rays, and they were frying themselves. All of them got cancer down the road.
Oh yeah.
So when you make the Moxy Fusion Generator, it has to be encased in lead or lead shielding on it.
Okay.
So, yeah. So you got to be very careful when you're doing transmutation like that. We're not doing we're not doing monoatomic stuff like Bernie does. But if you want to do actual transmutation of metals into other metals, which are physical metal material in the end, yeah, some of that stuff's gonna emit X-rays. It's dangerous. So,
The Hutchinson effect too has the ability to do some of that.
yeah. So you gotta be careful. You gotta do your homework first before you build that stuff.
Mm.
Especially like the high voltage stuff. You don't know. You could be emitting, some gamma or alpha. You don't know.
Hmm.
That's why I have a Geiger counter now. If I'm doing some experiments and I'm not sure, I whip out my Geiger counter and, take a reading because you just never know.
Has it ever went off?
With some of the Don Smith stuff, you got to be careful because you're working with very, very high voltages and magnetic
Like-
fields.
What kind of voltage range are we talking about?
Well, some of the stuff he was working with, his high voltage potentials were hitting 20,000 volts.
Hmm.
But, when you start hitting a spark gap, an open spark gap at a certain frequency, it can actually emit X-rays. So that's why I kind of backed off doing a lot of the Don Smith stuff. The plasma stuff, like the plasma column that I showed you guys a little while back, that's a lot safer if you're working with the plasmas. Like the one that I work with is only putting out about 2 kilovolts, which isn't very high. So you don't really have to worry too much. When you're getting into like 50 and 100,000 volts, yeah, I would start taking a little bit more precautions. I know Hutchison back in the day, he had some Tesla coils that were like 4 million electron volts coming out. Van de Graaff generators running that were over 2 million volts, and electrostatics. He had everything going. He was in a room 20 feet back that's shielded with concrete and lead. And he says, yeah, if I didn't do that, I probably would have had cancer way more. So when you're dealing with the high voltage stuff, yeah, take precaution because you don't know what you're emitting. If it's an alpha or beta or X-ray, you can't see this stuff. So you don't know you're getting exposed until it's too late, right? So always take precautions, and your health is number one. So I know with the pulse motor that I've been working on in my battery technology, I don't really have to worry about gamma or beta or any kind of nuclear emissions coming off. I'm pretty safe. So, yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, but obviously I'm not gonna do that for real. But I'm just gonna play around with the simulation for before anything else. Obviously.
Yeah, when you're dealing with stuff that you're going with, yeah, you got to watch out.
Yeah.
Like I've heard like some UFO stories. People got too close to the crafts and they were getting radiation burns.
Yeah. A lot of people got cancer because of that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tonight, I'm eating my pistachios, my nuts again. I don't know. I'm addicted to these pistachios. I love these things. They're so good.
Me, I'm drinking my wine right now. Cheers, salute.
Salute. My peach juice. You're drinking wine, I'm drinking peach juice. I think the last time I had wine was New Year's. Yeah. New Year's Eve.
Yeah, usually I don't. I rarely drink wine, but like again, there's no sack. The alcohol. So I need to walk a block, like 2 blocks. So today I was too lazy, so I just went downstairs and picked up some wine, and that's gonna be it for me today.
I did most of my drinking back in my early 20s. I was more of a whiskey guy. I like my whiskey.
I'm a whiskey.
Actually, I was drinking when I was 16. I was already drinking like 14 beers or something like that. It was if you want to be cool in high school, you had to be able to drink at least 14 beers.
I always preferred the Kahlua and cream.
Oh man,
I
that would make me ill. The one thing I won't ever touch ever again is Grand Marnier. Oh my god, I got so sick on that stuff. Oh my god, just
Grand Marnier.
Just the smell of Grand Marnier now. Oh,
What is that?
it's like a liqueur. It's very. It's got a high sugar content.
Oh, yeah.
Very smooth. It's really nice before. And I mixed that with pretty much everything that night. So every time I smell Grand Marnier, I just want to throw up.
Is it the one with the deer or the antlers on the bottle or something like that? Is that what you're talking about?
No, Grand Marnier, it comes in a regular, like a wine bottle type thing. It's a
Okay.
liqueur.
Okay,
It's a
then never
liqueur.
mind. I'm thinking of something else. I think maybe like the Jaeger or something like that. One of
Oh,
those.
Jägermeister?
Yeah. Oh,
Jäger.
those are nasty.
Back in the day, they used to do this thing called the Jaeger bomb
Yeah.
with the Red Bull.
Yeah.
And then you get a shot of Jaeger and you put it in the shot glass and you boom,
Yeah.
Jaeger bombs.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't like to mix Red Bull with alcohol, so I skipped those the most I could. But I like the Rumple Mints or the one. It's just some sort of German liquor. It's pretty good. And or B-52 or you got some other names I'm not gonna name here tonight, but yeah, I know them all. Or tequila, obviously tequila.
Yeah,
These
tequila
shots.
never got me drunk, eh? It had no effect on me. I don't know why.
Oh yeah.
I could drink tequila all night long and I don't even have a hangover the next day. It's really odd.
I could do that with whiskey.
With whiskey, yeah.
Well, it depends. It depends on the quality of the alcohol you get.
No,
Because-
Johnny Walker black stuff. Like,
Johnny Walker.
yeah.
Johnny Walker, I got blasted on that one time. Actually, I got blasted on Johnny Walker when I was in the Philippines. Because Johnny Walker's like, yeah, when I was in the Philippines. So I'm drinking, we downed a 48 ouncer of Johnny Walker between 3 people. And it's like 36 degrees, 37 degrees, like really hot. So, yeah, I got blasted that day. I was like puking.
I'm starting to feel warmed up now. Usually, at that time, I fall asleep, but now it's the opposite.
Yes, Modelo time.
like
So Ben,
in our younger days.
yeah.
Younger days.
So Ben, did you have some cool things to share as well tonight?
Yeah, I had a couple interesting updates that happened recently. Give me a second. My headphone just died, so I don't know if you guys want to talk for a few minutes while I get that situated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got a chinchilla doing backflips in his cage right now. Oh man. And like, calm down. This chinchilla, I'm telling you, some nights it's got to be a full moon or something because this animal does the Matrix. He'll run up the side of a wall sideways. Like
That's awesome.
this friggin' thing defies gravity.
Free energy gerbil.
I don't know how he does it.
Or
but
chinchilla.
Yeah, chinchilla, man. They'll scale a wall sideways and just keep running.
He's an over Unity
Insane.
device.
Like we got this new cage for him. The cage is about 4 feet tall, give or take, and it's like 3 levels. So we put like pedestals. So he'll run up, jump, hit the roof. As he hits the roof, he bounces back, doing like a backflip, and he lands right at the bottom. And all you hear is, he starts screaming like, "You dumbass!"
All right. So some really interesting things happened just the other night. I was testing the 0.6 watt LED load. As you know, I've been trying to tune the light bulb and pick the right light bulb for the system. And this 0.6 watt LED light bulb was singing when I hooked it up. So that was real. That was new. That's never happened before. Usually the hum, if it hums at all, it comes from the circuit, the jewel thief circuit, or I've even heard it come from the coil itself on a rare occasion with the very, very small micro coil I have, but never from the light bulb. So that kind of was like a red flag for me for like, oh, this might be, a better range for our system's efficiency in terms of what load is necessary to tune it. So a typical 0.6 watt LED consumes around 50 milliamps. The current draw from the battery from my system was around 79 milliamps. So it was already a little bit too high. The output to the LED, however, only showed around 10 milliamps, meaning 69 milliamps are wasted in my system despite any energy gains from the back EMF. So there's room for improvement here despite any apparent efficiency gains. So we ran a test with this 0.6 watt LED, and I started the battery at 12.56 volts. That was the voltage measured at the start of the test, and we were gonna run it down to 12 volts. So we're gonna stop and cut it off at 12 volts. And we know that it's getting about an 80% duty cycle. So when we adjust this for the duty, assuming 100% efficiency, we can garner that the system should last around 15.83 hours at 100% efficiency, consuming 79 milliamps. So with that duty cycle adjustment. So that's around the range that we were looking for in terms of the system hitting 12 volts, right? And what we saw was the system was running well past 42 hours and it didn't even hit 12 volts. It was at like 12.07 or something like that. So that was very, very cool. But on top of this, which is already insane, I must have accidentally disconnected the negative wire for the output to the light bulb rail circuit, the load. So I fell asleep on the couch, and a few hours later, I woke up and I found the voltage on the battery didn't really go down, like literally at all. And I was like, what the heck's going on? This should have gone down a little bit. I noticed I must have accidentally disconnected that wire. And apparently, by disconnecting that one wire, we further increased the efficiency. Like, I don't know what the official rate is yet, but it was insane. Like it went to a crawl. So we're going to run another test with that disconnected. But another thing to note here is that when it's disconnected, the consumption on the battery goes down. So it matches what we're seeing. It goes down to 10 milliamps. So it matches everything. It's basically not wasting anything at that point, which is really, really cool. And it stops humming. Yeah, it's insane. So yeah, that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, very good. You can actually still draw off that. Okay, what you've said is exactly correct. But you can extract off it without pulling current. And that's where the spark gap comes in.
Yeah, you were talking about that in previous podcasts where you can kind of like use the spark gap to your advantage there.
That's how I use it. I use it as a current gate. So the second that spark gap opens up, that release happens. And I got it finely tuned so you can barely see a spark going. And every time that opens up, when that spark happens, your current draw goes to zero.
Oh, well, where would you put that spark gap on the jewel thief? On the base of the transistor or on the...
I used it to actually remove the transistor completely.
Oh, you replaced the transistor. Okay, that was my next question.
Yeah, because my Renegade device has no transistors at all. It is
So you
all.
just basically use it as a high-speed transistor. Okay, high-speed switch.
It's a lot of people say it's a crude way of triggering, but I 100% disagree, because I know the second that release happens, all the current draw from the battery goes to zero. So the duty cycle on it is basically 4 pulses per revolution if you have 4 magnets, 6 if you have 6 magnets. So that is your duty cycle. So for every, well, if you have a 6 magnet wheel, you're going to get 6 impulses and release of current draw 6 times per revolution. This fools the battery, because the battery wants to give current. And when you say, gimme, 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 and all of a sudden you go, no, I don't want it anymore. That's the easiest way I could describe it. That's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, and it's all about energy recycling and not wasting anything. And I had Elijah note earlier, and I'm starting to realize, like, when the system is in full resonance and it's out properly tuned, the amperage is going to go down. You know, the draw for the amperage is going to go down to minimal.
Right. So if you could somehow come up with making a spark gap, I don't know, because the Jewel Thief's based on resonant frequency. So, you're on the right track, because you're
I believe I believe it's possible to replace the transistor and the Jewel Thief somehow, but with the spark gap. But yeah, no, at this point it's like in terms of like an affordable off the grid solution for like a consumer. I don't know if I want to like implement the spark gap at this point, but it is like interesting to like implement and further experiments in the future. I could experiment with that, but I don't know if I'd want to like ship these things out with a spark gap, and I'm
yeah, it's basically where the Jewel Thief and the Renegade device, when it comes down to the core way of working, it's an oscillator.
Right.
Mine's just a different method of creating an oscillation.
Yeah, and already we're getting super efficient system. We're getting a very efficient system. I mean, even though it's only powering 0.6 watt load, that light is just it'll go and go and go and go for emergencies.
So it's a hyper efficient system.
Yeah,
it doesn't put out a lot of watts. Fine, that's fine. But you're playing with something that's a very, very good learning tool. So
yeah, there's definitely ways to tweak it, I think, to get more power out of it.
So you're on the right track. One of the first devices I ever made was a Jewel Thief, and I learned a lot from it. And
they're very fun.
And then after that, I start getting into the pulse motors, and then I start realizing, in essence, the two devices are exactly the same. It's just a different method.
Yeah, a different method of posting the energy. Yeah.
You're right. So, and then I start realizing, well, down the road, the development with the piezos and all that stuff. And now I'm getting hyper efficiencies, and I'm also putting out a lot of current and a lot of voltage with very little energy input.
Right. Oh, by the way, I had a couple of short videos, and real quick, I forgot to mention that I had a theory that, okay, so the duty cycle's registering normally at 80% on, 20% off on my oscilloscope, but, and this was my theory, when we get it more in tune and resonance, full resonance, that will drop to 50-50, and it did. So when I unhooked that wire, and it the amperage dropped, and it kind of like stabled out and went real slow on the decay rate.
Right.
It proved my theory. It on the oscilloscope it was 50-50.
You posted this video here, Ben?
Yes. So there's a video. That video, yes, you can hear it.
That's why they call it a jewel ringer. That's why it rings.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
It stops ringing when I disconnect it. So it's like it fixed it. The ringing is like a problem or something. I don't know. It stops making the noise. And that's not completely accurate. It'll fluctuate between 7 and 10. It's making noise that the current seems to peak. So that was the end of that video, and then there's one more short one. Here, let me get rid of the first one, remove that, and then this short one. Okay, I plugged the negative in, and you can see it's going down. So it'll continue to go down to about 12.12, I think is where this, with the negative plugged in, this decay rate's going to be settling in a second. There we go. And now notice, when I unplug the negative rail, it jumps back up, indicating that it's requiring less energy or utilizing more energy. It's more efficient. So it's decaying slower, but it's getting the same amount of power. And now, and I don't think this has anything to do with the negative rail being disconnected, but look at the video earlier. We had now the same exact current on the output of the battery, the output of the coil, and now the power rail. So everything was matching. Before, remember, we were wasting a lot of current. It was like 79, 80 milliamps, about 79 to 82 milliamps on the output of the coil, and then only about 9 to 10 milliamps on the output for the load. Now it's all even. It's all about the same. So it's very interesting.
Cool. Cool. I'm just going to scoot out for a quick smoke. You guys can carry the conversation for a few minutes. I'll be right back.
Awesome. Awesome possum.
Very cool. Love the setup. Like you got it all to match up, resonate the same. That's cool.
Yeah. So remember, we were talking about the different components that need to all resonate together and produce, because as you add capacitance, it's gonna, change your frequency. So you have the capacitor on the one setup that was changing the frequency. We had to match that. But the load itself in this instance is the capacitor. So we have to, match the load appropriately so it brings the frequency down to its resonance, or a harmonic octave of that. So, but it's exciting. I'm really excited about the results of this, even though it's just a small 0.6 watts. That's very, very significant, in terms of the results we're getting. Yeah, that's
I mean, that's an increase. I mean, you're looking for.
I see. That's the thing. That's the next step, Phil. And that's why I want to get these prototypes out to more of the team so we can test and see how to scale this up a little bit. But this is just going to be like a simple off the grid solution for emergency lighting or heating or whatever. Specifically trying to make it simple and small. But yeah, the potential to scale it up is there. We just have to experiment more. It's really, really, really cool, because a lot of this is like culminating to like this moment where we actually have the system producing something significant that is usable. And it was the 40 watt is very efficient, and I was using it for a while, but at the end of the day it's diminishing in brightness, and so there's really no way without a lumen counter for me to know the actual efficiency. You know what I mean? So like that's a huge variable that we just eliminated in this test by using the small watt. There's no 50% brightness for this thing. It's either on or off. You know what I mean? So We've eliminated that variable, and I think that's very important. But
Like one thing got accounted for. If you remove this is how much what happens. Like
right. And the projected 15 hours or 16 hours of what it's supposed to be at 100%, that is significant. And then what Daniel Nunez said to Marco Rodin, he said, it's the same setup. He's using the excitation circuit and the Rodin coil, or I'm sorry, that ABHA coil. He said that, Marco asked, oh, so what's your comparison? Like in terms of how long did it last? He's like, without the coil, it lasted, this lighting panel lasted, I think he said like a couple of hours. And then with the coil, he said it lasted like 48 hours or something like that. But I think what he was doing was he was just comparing them by draining the battery until it stopped working. What I'm doing is cutting it off at 12. So we're seeing a more kind of like accurate comparison. Whereas like because the Joule Thief will keep on running the battery down below. Most devices will. So it's not like a fair comparison with a traditional system that won't do that. The traditional system is going to cut off around like 12 volts. So we have to like, do the apples to apples as close as we can at this point, just to be sure what we're seeing is what we're seeing.
Okay. So the 0.6 volts you were talking about, is it
Watts? Yeah, so it's a
watts?
0.6 watt light bulb.
Okay, and you sure it's over the uncertainty of the apparatus?
I don't understand the question.
The uncertainty, like the margin of error.
Oh, no, there's definitely a margin of error. But it's a lot slimmer than it was in the last test. And in terms of like comparing it to the 100% theoretical rate,
Yeah.
and that's assuming, ideal conditions for the battery, assuming a linear decay, like those are the margins of error we're talking about, though, when you were comparing it to 100% theoretical. And that's the important thing is there is a little bit margin of error, but at the end of the day, 15 hours compared to 42 plus, it's kind of like a little in the realm of, that margin of error might bring it down, to where it closes in a little bit, but it's looking like it's, over 100%. We can't confirm it. We can't confirm it because I want independent verification. But that's what it appears to be at this moment. You know what I mean? Like I can't, unless I made a mistake in the math somewhere. And I went over in the pregame show all the math, and I asked people, please look at this, and because I want to be sure. But we adjusted for all the variables that I've known to account for, except for assuming that the battery is linear in its decay, which sometimes it isn't. Sometimes it's more parabolic.
Okay. Interesting.
it's producing 2.5 times more than what is expected. I mean, that's very significant.
Yeah. So like I said, like even if I'm off a little bit, the gap is so wide, I don't know. I can't confirm it. But I like as much as I want to, I can't, because I want people on the team to test with the device and see, what they get. You know what I mean? Like we need that independent verification, because no one's gonna believe it if we don't have that.
You need the Mike Faraday certification.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna send one out to Mike. Mike's gonna test with it, he said, and we'll get all the results, and hopefully you guys will have your own ideas on how to advance the component to maybe like a version 2 or something. I don't know. We'll have fun with it.
Well, your next step, I think, Ben, would be to scale it bigger. Go to
that's what I was saying.
Way larger coil.
Well, you know what they say, bigger is better.
Well, you're going to get. Well, you can still get high efficiencies with a bigger device.
Yeah, and you know what? With a bigger device, I can have a bigger case and maybe incorporate the coil into the case itself, a small one, and have it like an all-in-one component.
Yeah, like you could buy small toroid coils about yay big. They're about 2-inch diameter. I can get them at the local electronics place that's not too far from where I live. Or you can go real big, like the giant ones. You can do that too.
Yeah.
You get some real crazy power out of it.
No,
But
that's a good idea. We should test with the, traditional bifilar, not just a rodent, because it should work with any bifilar. You know what I mean?
yeah, with your rodent coil, did you ever try putting a core inside, like we were talking about a while ago?
No, I didn't have one that I could put in there. I've been meaning to, though.
Yeah, so that's definitely one experiment you should try. The one thing I did read up on that Tesla was working with not just copper wire, he was also using iron wire. And iron is very ferromagnetic when it comes to magnetic properties. So you might want to dabble making a coil using, you can get it at any florist shop. They have florist wiring that's painted, and that's iron wire. You might want to try making a coil with that and see some of the results you get with that. You might be pleasantly surprised. And also, Nathan Stubblefield, a lot of his earth battery coils were made with iron wire. So.
Also, Iron Man is made of iron.
Yeah. Oh, I got something in a private chat here. What's this, Philip, that you sent me in the private chat?
Yeah, there was a link. Maybe you can repost on the public comments.
Oh, okay.
Phil's best dance moves.
No, it's the source code of my simulator.
Oh,
So
nice.
if anybody want to do better, then
Do that.
they're welcome to.
Can we run that on something like Replit or, to see the simulation ourselves?
Okay, so I just posted, it's github.com.
Yeah, thanks. Well, ideally, I mean, you can run it under Linux or Windows, so you can just download Qt and compile it, and then you run it on your computer.
Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah, because I'd be interested in running the simulation and checking it out.
Yeah, cool. But you know C++ a little bit?
I do not. I have worked with programming languages before, though. Specifically, basic ones like.
Wish I could do code. I really wish I could do it.
Mm.
Like I could take code that's already been made and actually know enough to actually manipulate it to make it work what I want it to do. I'm just reading some of the stuff here in the chat.
Oh yeah, Bernie says, I thought Iron Man was made of unobtainium. I think you're right. I think he's right on that. I think I just got fact checked. My bad.
I didn't know that, man. I suck.
Cool. Yeah, live chat is open, everybody. We also do our live shows every Friday night at 9 o'clock Eastern. And it's our Free Energy Friday night. And
so yeah, and then next week I might as well try to simulate a material like Lulu was suggesting, and see what happens.
Yep.
Next week, Phil's gonna be rich.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Not with the material, but with my C++ superset, because I went to a networking event yesterday, and some banks, they're using quantum computers already, because quantum computers are very fast. They're very fast, and they use C++ because it's a fast language as well. It's a low latency language, and my C++ superset just make it more robust. So it's a perfect combination, man. The banks, quantum computers, and C++ superset
I don't
is
know if you guys can see this. I just purchased this. This is a graphite ingot mold, and I'm actually going to try making one of my power cells using this. This material, this graphite ingot, is highly, highly conductive. It is incredible what this stuff will do. So I'm going to probably make one of my cells using this. And what's good about it, it's pretty deep. And I'll be able to put all this stuff in there, actually be able to bake the layers that I do of what I'm doing. And then I can put a laminate sheet or acrylic sheet on top and actually fuse it shut. And this thing should last about 10 to 20 years when I'm done. So I'm going to experiment with this. It's highly conductive, like amazing. Like the resistance in this is like almost non-existent. It's like incredible.
I just have to say real quick, Streamlabs mislabeled, didn't save my title for my stream, so my stream was mislabeled again. I apologize.
Yeah.
I just caught that. It's like what the heck?
Do, do
I
you,
save it and
Phil, do you think the banks are utilizing it because they're having to convert a lot of the cryptocurrency as now a means of monetary value, and they would need a quantum computer to keep those computations?
they need quantum computers because the transactions need to be very fast. Whether
yeah, there's so many of them, right?
Sorry.
There's so many transactions they need to do at the same time.
Exactly. So it needs to be very fast, either normal transactions or cryptocurrency. It needs to be done very fast, otherwise they're gonna lose money per minute. So, um, I talked to some company that is linking quantum computers with some European banks, and I'm gonna inject C++ superset on top of that, and to make their application more robust, and then there you go. And AI is gonna use quantum computers as well. So fintech AI, they will do so, and what's sorry, I'm starting to be drunk right now. I'm losing my ideas. Just
It's like you're optimizing the speed of their transactions. I mean, that's right.
well, they're doing that with quantum computers, but already, which is like a million times faster than a normal computer. But just making the application more robust, so it's like you cannot crash or have memory leaks and things like that. And there's also OpenCV in AI. AI uses OpenCV. The OpenCV is some common vision library, and it's used a lot in AI, but it leaks and it crashes after 2 days of usage. But my software can make it very robust, so I can resell OpenCV using my software, and it's based on AI. It's used by AI, so there's a lot of money there, man. It's like I just need to stop drinking and start working, you know.
Sorry, guys.
Saying,
Hey,
you know what I'm
how's
saying?
it going,
Pretty good.
Grandpa?
Hey, Nathan.
Grandpa had to work, man.
You
That-
got tired of us. You got tired of us laughing at you, so you came back directly and settled it straight.
Oh, come on, you're laughing with me.
Or maybe it's not Nathan. Maybe it's Nathan. Maybe it's AI. AI.
Yeah.
generated.
Yeah, he likes to laugh at me. That's for sure. Yeah, my granddaughter's so fast, man. I feel so old around her. Like I feel like both my knees are gonna break as soon as she turns the corner. I'm like, no, not that fast. I can't move. No, really a joy in my life. That's for sure.
Grandchildren
Nathan,
do you have?
I'm
Makes
sorry,
you
what?
feel younger, huh?
No, it makes me feel older. That's no way. She's got all the youth, man. She's like got to that stage where she could walk, and she's like going fast everywhere. There's no slow speed.
Yep, they have so much energy at that age.
Oh,
My daughter was the same way. Colt says you have a video that he wants to show. He says you have a copy of it.
Coat?
probably do. Yeah. Well, give me a second. I wanted to share something with you, if that's okay.
Yep.
Before you start, I just want to tell Bernie I'm not a true French Canadian. I'm a hybrid, because I lived in San Diego before, so and I don't really. I'm on and off with the Montreal Canadiens, so there you go.
San Diego. I knew I recognized that accent somewhere.
San Diego accent.
Yeah.
I didn't know they had an accent.
I'm kidding.
All right, so what are we looking at here, Nathan?
So this is a over Unity circuit. So if you look at the upper right-hand corner of it, where it says 25, 26 in that area,
Yeah,
you see where it says 29?
29.
It's right to the right of it.
Okay, yeah.
I think he put a spark gap right there like you have.
Yep, that's the spark gap.
So he's making basically the same circuit that you are.
Mm-hmm.
This is the freight energy car.
Tesla's car?
This isn't Tesla's car. I can pull the name. I forgot his name. I'm sorry.
I think I know which one you're talking about. It was made in
Edwin something.
Yeah, it was made in the 1920s, 1930s.
No, I think this is in the 80s.
Oh, this was in the 80s.
Yeah.
Really?
So the reason I want you to look at it is because
He's
I
got two
see.
spark gaps.
Yeah.
See, one on either side of the coil. See?
Yep. This right here is absolutely one of the most interesting things I've ever seen. If you build the Renegade, you probably notice everything that's going on in here.
Yep. Ground. It's got a diode. See where it says number 22? He's got a diode there. Now, the box beside it, it says 32, I believe it is, or 38.
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
I think that diode's backwards, and I think that's a capacitor bank.
It's 30.
It's right in the middle on the top there, just off to the left a little bit from that diode 22.
Yeah, it says 32 on it, yeah. 22, the PWM. He's running the thing where he's capturing a lot of back energy and then filtering it back into his system.
Yeah.
If you wanted to like forge it too, like in an easy way where people can't solve it, just switch the diode, right? And the capacitor.
Yeah. See, right before, okay, see where it says 25 and 26, he's got two high voltage capacitors there, which is storing the charge that's coming off of the first coil that's in the middle there, where it says 24. And the initial charge builds up here, where 25 and 26 are. And when it hits that high voltage, now it has enough potential to jump the spark gap at 29 and 30. And then from there, he throws it through another coil again.
Well, there's a reason for the other coil. So you want me to scroll down a little bit?
Sure.
Okay, it's not this one. Let me grab you the other one.
All right. Yeah, I think what he's doing is he's spark gapping it, throwing it in the coil, and then spark gapping it again and throwing it in another coil again. He's ramping it up.
And there's his motor. So I think it's coils that he showed and they go directly into this motor.
This is the EV Gray motor.
Edwin Gray? Is that what it is?
This is the EV Gray motor.
When was that? In the 80s? Or was it?
He started getting really good results around the late 70s. He was killed. I believe he was murdered. He did actually get a patent on it. He was like a week or something before they were able to get their hands on it and basically blacklist it. So he actually did get the patent on this. And after that, it was threats, death threats, every kind of threat you can imagine. He was going through some hell there.
Yes, so I wanted to show you this because this is what Linderman was talking about in that PDF I sent you.
Right. So there's one key component that makes this work, and it's called the gray tube, the EV gray tube. And it's a series of copper mesh, 3 layers. So you have a big one, and then you have a smaller one in it, and then you have a smaller one. There's 3 stages. And in the middle, he has where the spark gap happens. This is where the energy is now transformed into that high voltage potential, which he dumps into the capacitors and getting the output. It's called the gray tube. So you can look that up, Nathan. Actually, what's his name? Aaron Murakami actually did a very good rendition of the gray tube. So you might want to look that one up when you get a chance. That's a key component to making this motor work. And this thing was actually producing several hundred horsepower.
Yeah.
It was very powerful.
Yeah, little Geo Metro, if I'm not mistaken, that he was driving around with it.
Oh, yeah. This thing was putting out major power, and it was way over Unity. So.
And I wanted to show you because I'll send you this if you want it. But because you recognize the exact circuit that's going on.
Yeah.
So this isn't that hard. Over Unity, it's right in our grasp. You know what I mean?
It's already been done. It's just
You're right, Nathan.
It's already been done numerous times. Like, we're just trying to re-engineer stuff that guys were successful with and unfortunately suppressed or murdered or whatever. Several engineers have been murdered over the years.
Well, it's the state we're in. Instead of engineering things, we're trying to reverse engineer things that have been done a long time ago.
Yeah, but the thing is, these guys had the right stuff.
Yeah, they were all correct. They were all correct. That was one of the most shocking things out of my earlier research into all this is, wow, this is actually like something that happened. These people were onto something.
Yeah, see, this EV Gray motor is for the advanced builder. This is not an easy motor to build. I'll let you know that right now. It is not an easy motor to build. It's a lot of
complicated, like the Searle effect generator.
The Searle effect, same thing too. You have to have a full machine shop to make that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not interested in that one. What I am interested in is the fact that we already know what the circuit is.
Yeah.
And Linderman was having a lot of trouble with it in that letter that he wrote. And even when he solved it, he got it wrong. So that's the one thing. You know what I mean? If I could tell him what it was, it's pretty simple on what's going on here. Now, the conversion, just so you understand, we have your conversion, Mike.
Yeah.
I also have another conversion method that I can do with coils and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling that the next couple ones that I build may put me right there when I do the Don Smith.
Yeah.
That I'm going to have that perfect conversion for this. Maybe not as good as he did, but at least the start of it so that we can have it.
Yeah. You might want to really look into the EV gray tube.
That's
That might
awesome.
be something that might really mesh well with what you're working with, because it is a spark gap type conversion method. So, and it's not that hard to make.
Gotcha.
But try to look up there. If I find it, I'll send that link to you in an email after the show, or sometime this week. I'll find it because I just saw it. Actually, believe it or not, I saw it about a week ago. It's kind of a coincidence that you brought this up.
Interesting.
Yeah, but yeah, if you can replicate the gray tube, that might be a key component to actually making your system work, or convert what you want to do. It's a very, very simple principle on how it works.
Yeah, because we can find the energy, we can amplify the energy. Now we just need a stable source to run the way we want it to run.
Yeah. See, like I see a trend with a lot of these over Unity devices, the ones that were actually proven to be over Unity, almost all of them had spark gaps somewhere in the system.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay, so check this out. When Sean was building his coil and he showed it to us, he has the it's a round coil that goes up at a point. So it basically looks like two arrows at each other, right?
Right.
And it's up and down. Now, when Linderman was describing what was going on, that exact thing is exactly what we were looking for. So Tesla did it. Yeah. When he did it, he pulled radiant energy out this way from it.
Yeah.
So I think putting that spark gap inside of a tube, doing the same thing, capturing the radiant energy inside of there, I think we got it.
And that's the EV gray tube. That's exactly what it is. You put it in an acrylic tube.
So I may even have that picture. I'll take this one down. But it was very, very interesting to see it.
But look it up online. There are plans out there to make the EV gray tube. So yeah, just Google search it and yeah.
Yeah. Give me a few minutes. Go ahead and talk. I will be right there. I'm trying to just look it up.
Yeah. So anyways, that EV gray tube, the gray tube spark gap, that was an essential component of his device to make it work. It wouldn't work without it. So
okay,
that's the importance.
I think I have it right here. Come on. Right there. So this is the field that he was looking at. Tesla did.
Yeah.
When they go together, it gets a radiant energy field. And it looks like it's surrounded by a magnetic field. So let me just describe this. How do I say this? When I did my gravity flyer, right, I built out the field so one holds in the other. So this right here makes a lot of energy it's giving me a lot of sense because the radiant energy will hold in anything that's made like a static electricity or magnetic.
Yep.
It holds it in or it pushes it out. So you can build, if you do it in layers, one massive amount of energy in there.
Yep. Yep.
So
Yeah, that's a good diagram.
yeah,
So-
it kind of
So
shows
if you're
what's going
looking
on.
at this right now, kind of look at this in a different perspective. What I'm looking at right now actually makes me look at the Faraday disk. All right. So you got that rotating magnetic field. Okay. And what happens as a result, you get the radiant energy wave coming out. That's the current. So if you overlap those two drawings over top of each other, you have the Faraday disk. That's the very first electrical generator ever made by Michael Faraday.
I was
So
the exact same thing. If you had, like, I was thinking if you overlapped them, it would look like, you know.
well, you have a rotating magnetic field, and when you spin a magnet at high speed, now it's pushing radiant current or the radiant energy wave, the green one. So just overlap the two pictures together. So you're now spinning that at a high RPM. So all you have to do now is attach a brush, one on the axle, all right, or on the axis. That's your negative. And then your positive current potential is coming off the outer diameter of that rotating magnetic field. That's a Faraday disk. So just by doing that, you can get huge amps. I built the Faraday disk. I was able to get 30 amps of current. The problem with the device is it only puts out 250 millivolts. So I'm getting huge amount of current, but very little voltage.
Oh, well, see, that's
That's
where ingenuity comes in, because adding volts to amps is not that difficult.
right. So now, Peter Linderman and Michael Knox solved this problem. So what they did was the magnet that they're spinning, what they did is break it up into 5 segments going around a wheel that's made of copper. So now you got 5 pulses of magnets. So now you spin it, and now instead of having a continuous DC wave coming off, you're actually creating an AC pulse.
Mm-hmm.
It's oscillating. You pick that up by a brush, and then now you put that brush and attach it to a high voltage step up coil. At the time, they were using a car ignition coil, and they were able to get the volts and the amps at the same time.
Yep.
And that's where Bruce De Palma's end machine was wrong.
Well, it seems to me they're building the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
They just put their own spin on it. And if you understand how the energy flows in these things, you can build every single one of them.
Yeah.
You kind of have to throw away some of the knowledge you get through your circuit diagrams, because they're backwards when you run some of this stuff, because you're doing the cold side of energy, not the hot side.
Right.
And then you have to understand the spark gap. And then there's no piezo in this, but I'm sure you can amplify the living daylights out of it.
Yeah. You could also get higher voltage potentials. It's based on, I talked about this before with the coil, the diameter. So Bruce De Palma's machine, his diameter, I believe, was 2 feet in diameter. So he was getting 2,500 amps at 60 volts DC. Okay. That's a very, very heavy machine. It weighed over 1,000 pounds. Okay. In other words, very unpractical and also very expensive. But Peter Linderman and Michael Knox solved the problem. Now you could have a benchtop size device that won't cost you $100,000 to make and get usable power out of it.
You see, I think it's the conversion back that's going to be important, because you have to have a drive system for the vehicle itself. So there has to be the drive motor and the collection motor. So it's a generator and a regular motor.
Yep.
It's electric motor. So we've come a long way in how electric motors and the usage of energy on them.
Yep.
Now we just got to be able to pull you know what I mean? The negative side into it and convert. So I think we're right there, man. I think if we simply take your motor and look at it and understand that diagram,
Yep.
we can make a bigger motor, you know what I mean, out of it.
Yeah, and a lot more horsepower too.
Yeah.
The pulse motor has always been known to be a very torqueless motor, but you can make it have a lot of torque. It's all in the engineering.
Well, you could do just a conventional motor, but with the pulse motor as the pickup, as you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As your generator portion.
Yeah.
So I think that's just what we need to do here.
I'm surprised you haven't made a pulse motor yet.
You know what? I was going to tell you, I'm needing a parts list because when I'm done with my Tesla coils, that's where I'm going next. So,
yeah. Well, remember we did my disclosure on the Renegade?
mhm.
There's that schematic. Just refer back to that, and that'll give you the easiest starting point to start with to make a pulse motor.
Daniel Nunez made a pulse motor that I'm going to replicate at some point, and it displays a lot of torque, like a lot of it.
Yep. Even the wheel itself, if you want to get really simplistic about it, even the wheel itself, if you got, say, a wheel that weighs a pound and you get that spinning up pretty fast, you're generating quite a bit of torque. So just by inertia alone, if you're able to spin that wheel quite fast, you could always dump that mechanical power into another part of the circuit, or turn a small little generator with it or something like that. Totally possible.
Yeah, and Michel's working on a pulse motor circuit at the moment that we can use for that very intention with some of our coils.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that.
Well, I want to replicate Mike's because I want that spark gap, because I think it's a huge deal in this whole thing. Because
it is.
It allows the radiant energy to come in, but it doesn't allow it to go backwards, which is the best thing about it, because I'm getting tired of MOSFETs blowing up.
Yep.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. Like it's going to be a perfect replacement for, like a transistor or a MOSFET.
It's what makes my motor an open circuit.
Yeah.
So if you got 6 magnets on the wheel, you weren't here when I was talking about this. I'll just kind of repeat what I said earlier. If you have a wheel and it's got six magnets, okay, it's pulsing 6 times per revolution.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, say you got your wheel spinning at 900 RPM. How many revolutions per minute is it pulsing? A lot. So to the point where the battery thinks it's always open, not closed. That's why the current's not flowing out of the battery. That's why the battery lasts. And if you get it tuned just right, that spark gap, the spark will be very, very small, but just enough to release the current draw from the battery. So the current flow in the battery never leaves the battery. You're getting a trickle of power coming out just to keep that motor running. So if you got 4 or 6 magnets, 6 magnets per revolution, that's 6 pulses per revolution. If you're doing 900 RPM per minute, do the math. And it's a very, very large number. And it basically makes that motor an open circuit, not a closed circuit.
Nice.
And that's the key. And a lot of people just, I've had it up there. It hasn't been a secret for a long time. And even the piezo stuff, nobody's doing it. Why? Why aren't people doing this?
They don't understand it. Because you're in cold energy. So when they go to do it to hot energy, it's not working. You see, it's got to run through that radiant energy.
Right. But the thing, I think where they're going wrong is they don't know how to convert it properly, where we do.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing. So, like I said, if Linderman understood this, he would have had it a long time ago.
Yeah.
That's why I thought it was so fascinating when I read that PDF, because it was he's describing this thing, and I already know the answer before he even said a word, and I knew he would get it wrong by the time he built it again. And everything that he said wasn't there is actually there. That's what the trippy thing was. And then Tesla described perfectly what his radiant energy was. And some of the conversations he had are perfect for understanding some of this. So that whole thing was just like mind blowing. I had a guy on my channel who was telling me, no, you're not doing it right. You're not doing it right. And I says, basically, well, then tell me what it is. And he sent me a treasure trove of PDFs for a ton of stuff. And I basically got a, overnight education in everybody. It was absolutely fascinating.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Sometimes it's sitting right in front of you, and it just doesn't click.
It's because they never played with the energy. They don't understand it.
Yeah.
Like if I told you, go over there with my one wire power, right?
Yeah.
And you'd probably say, well, it's like the outside of the Tesla coil. You light up a light bulb, so it's got to be the same thing, right?
Yeah.
It's completely different. The whole energy is different. So when I see it in other systems, I recognize what they're playing with now.
Yeah.
Now I know exactly when Tesla tells you it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
I can verify every fact of it.
Yeah, because I can hold my piezo. Like I use the piezo disc, the barium titanate discs, and I'll grab it, and there's several hundred volts going through it, and I'll hold it in my fingertips, and it'll make my fingers tingle and everything, but nothing like like sticking your finger in the light socket.
No, not at all.
It actually feels good.
Yeah.
It feels good.
That's the report from everything that they said about this energy. Even Tesla said that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so.
And I've even told you off the record. I'll one night I was like really tired, and
I don't want you to get in trouble.
Yeah,
we'll just save that story for another time.
Yeah, you're right.
Because you get right in trouble. I don't want to get in trouble.
Let's say, my caption at the top of it, getting energized, pretty much explains it all.
No, I don't even know how to say this.
Yeah.
When I did it, I figured out which system works where and which systems that they're trying to use that won't work the same. And I can't really describe that a whole lot because we'll get in trouble. But there's certain systems that give you like maybe a tenth of what you need. But then there's a system out there that'll give you 100% of what you need. So it's interesting because it comes out in the testing all over the place. And I've never been shut down so fast on my channel as when I brought out that one wire energy.
Yeah.
As soon as I did, my numbers got cut down like 3/4 immediately.
Yeah, blacklisted. Yeah, they killed the algorithm on you.
Yeah.
Certain things, as soon as I hit the piezo thing, man, my numbers just took a nosedive.
Because they know. They already know we have it. And it just takes someone to connect the dots.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just thinking of that. There's no reason that my channel, some of the videos, there's no reason that some of the videos have the low view count that they have. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. No,
actually, I saw a like actually on one of my simulation videos. I saw a like. You can see the like kind of some sort of animation. And then I saw the light disappear. It's like, what the hell? How? And then I saw a light popping up again.
Phil. Earlier today, I was checking my analytics on one of my recent recent videos that I posted from a live stream, and I was checking the app, and it said I have 9 thumbs up and 67 views. But then when I check it on the desktop, it's like 25 views and 4 likes.
Yeah.
and then I go check it again, and it's back down. I'm like, what the?
Does it
I know.
tell you who likes? Does it tell?
No.
No.
And it was like, yeah, it was like the little preview screen. It was like your top videos, you know, like, and it was performing pretty well. And I was like, oh yeah, you got 9 likes on this. And I go and click into it, and it's like, oh, it only actually has 4 when you go and look on the YouTube channel. Like if you're looking as a viewer, it only has 4 likes. And I'm like, what the heck is going on here?
Yeah. That's what they will do the same with the AI. They will manipulate the mainstream story like they do with YouTube and the mainstream media. They will do the same with AI. That's my prediction.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
Feel
Well,
like
peop-
the likes or the clicks are worth something, so somehow they deduct it because like it just feels like it's like
Well,
a
Cody says it could be bots. That's possible. But I mean, I don't know. It's just,
Oh yeah, bots
it's
from Russia.
frustrating.
They want to kill Mini T and Nathan and me and Mike.
yeah,
Come on.
you know
They,
what?
they wrote bots just for us. No,
Our
it's just YouTube, man. YouTube, they just want to mess with your mind, or
yeah, it's all mind games. I have the stuff up there. I got a ton of videos up there, like 500 plus videos, and just let it go. It's out there in cyberspace. Anybody can access it whenever they want. Sure, maybe my numbers might not be as high as I would like, but the thing is, my stuff is out there. And that's the most important thing, I guess.
You just gotta direct people to it.
Like the way I look at it too is like, my stuff could be out there 30 years and people might still go back and watch these videos. Like Laser Saber, I still watch videos he did 14 years ago. Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So,
why I like to show my stuff on your show because it's recorded and it's gonna be there
yeah.
for a long time, unless your
Yeah.
channel is gonna get deleted. But
Well, I'm streaming it too, so we got multiple backups of all these podcasts.
yeah.
So it's out there. That's the main thing. Information's getting shared like, we intended it to do. Hopefully some of the stuff we talk about resonates with other people that are listening or tuning in, offline and stuff. So,
Well,
yeah,
with all the information, I could literally write a guide on how to build free energy. Like within a couple weeks, it wouldn't even take long.
Nathan's Practical Guide to Free Energy Devices. I love
Well,
it.
look, this energy is not that hard. It's just a simple understanding of how to build it. And once you do, it's game over. So,
yeah.
Well, I think a book is a good idea, though. I think it's a really good idea.
As soon as you
Yeah.
realize, look at where Tesla was at. He always used spark gaps. And then later down the road, he got into rotary spark gaps. You see, he was able to actually control duty cycle with the rotary spark gap.
well, it's no
Really?
different than your distributor on your car.
Exactly. The points on your car. Yep. And your distributor cap. Yep. Exactly. Very good analogy.
we just need a really cool AI to pick up all the the science that we say from the different episodes and put it together, as a continued idea throughout, like from A to Z, because every episode we talk about it and then we start something else, but to take an idea from the beginning episodes all the way through here and how would it look like,
I'll be right back, guys. I'll be back in a couple minutes.
Yeah, we'd have to retrain the AI to get rid of all the garbage that it understands now.
Yeah, like pick like trigger words, like when you talk about radiant energy or about like rotating magnetic field or just about anything that we talk about extensively, like to put that idea all together at once to see what it could come up with,
But it comes back with the same theories from everybody that's been publishing everything, and it's all poo compared to this. Because it gives you the wrong direction. They start to tell you about how it goes through the positive side first and then goes to the negative, right? But the circuits in cold energy goes to the negative through everything, then back to the positive. So it's completely backwards to AI. It doesn't understand that there's two ways to run this on the same part. And that's what screws everybody up, because every time they go to replicate it, they go, well, let me just take out regular circuit design and then run it. Well, that's completely opposite of what they needed to do. So when you look at Gerald's device and he runs his circuit, it's completely backwards. It's like you took somebody who is dyslexic and that's how they see the world. So they put everything backwards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's basically what cold energy did, is it's all in reverse. It's like Gerald said that one time. He goes, it's in reverse. Have a nice day. Hope it works for you. Cracks me up.
What you wonder if AI figures out to use the cold energy as a means of communication at one point, because if it figures out how to tap into that, then everything is used to the hot energy. The cold energy is just going to be an untapped resource of energy, communication, whatever you want to do with it, pretty much.
I think that AI is filled with bugs that like to trigger words, and then people show up at your door. It's like patenting this stuff. It's just somebody shows up at your door, and I'd rather just build an episode, put it out there, and make sure that I put Creative Commons on it and give it to everybody. You know what I mean? And just flood it.
Yeah.
Yeah, AI in my list, it keeps doing mistakes. I keep asking the ChatGPT, and it keeps doing mistakes, so I might as well do it on my own. So
no, I've been experiencing the same thing. It keeps on screwing up the math, and I have to double check it. I'm like, that's not right.
Exactly. But we assume it's right. That's the problem. We think that it's hard to tell if it's ChatGPT or us that is wrong.
Right.
So,
Well, I mean, I know enough to know if it's using the right equations. You know what I mean? If it's using the right equations, and then I see that it's like either off using the wrong equations every once in a while, or it's plugging in the numbers wrong. And I'm like, what? So you gotta be watching that ChatGPT. You gotta catch it.
If you have the equation already, why are you going to ChatGPT?
Because it likes to lay out everything in nice detail where I can copy and paste it for my presentations. Like it has all the equations all nice with the symbols and everything.
It's good, but it's good to simplify things sometimes. You want to get like I used it to simplify the quantum chromodynamics equations into the Bohr model, the atomic model, and it does a good job for that. But when it starts using the equation, it messes everything around.
Yeah, no thanks, guys.
Watch it.
You guys have fun with that. I'm gonna stick to learn the formula, and then once you have the formula, the math is relatively easy.
But Nathan's old school, but you raise a good point. Like when you eliminate that variable, you don't have to worry about that, and you could just focus on what you know, and that's important. Because that AI could be either a tool or a crutch, so you don't want to straddle that line. You know what I mean?
Nathan, make it, then let's calculate what it was.
Yeah.
The only thing that is good is it's convenient. And sometimes there are gray areas, and you wanna sort out. You want to know what something is related to. So sometimes it's good because it's gonna bring out the bullet points of something that is not clear in your mind, or things like that. Or simplifying things is good, but When it comes to doing mathematics, it's like forget it. Maybe high school mathematics at best it's good, but not very complex mathematics.
Just a real quick note. Elijah said he's seen likes disappear on this entire group's live streams.
Yeah, yeah. Just like I was saying, I saw the like appearing on my simulation, so on my YouTube simulation post, and then it just disappeared. And I saw other like popping up; they all disappeared. It's pretty creepy, man.
Yeah, it's frustrating and it's creepy. Yeah.
Put a like on one. So I don't know, like they took my like, off. The fact that I watched the one that had all the, subatomic particles in one chamber. Yeah, I put a like on that one.
It's like they can't dislike us all, everybody.
Well, we'll just put it in language that they don't flag. And
Yeah.
they don't understand common language. They use that highfalutin language, and that's not me. So when I just describe it like Tesla does in fields and never use, volts, amps, or anything else, maybe you get the point, maybe you won't. But at least it's out there.
And you know what? Next time I will record it. I will record it, the light disappearing, so I'll have evidence.
You should.
I will.
That's
As soon as I
awesome.
post a video,
No.
I will see a bunch of light appearing, and they will all disappear. I will record it.
I've recorded something similar. I think I shown to you guys a while ago. But yeah, no, whenever you can catch it, definitely, record that data.
Yeah.
Use it as evidence against.
Pass a graphic well where it sucks the likes out of the video. Like, man, I know. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you right now, people who really want the information go on your Patreon. They'll go on your,
That's true.
your members thing, and they'll find the information. And those are the people that are going to put it to use. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Or if you have a website, that's always good to have a website too.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just what I think anyway. There's a lot of people that like to look at it, but there's people out there who are driven to build it. So you start putting schematics out there that they understand and that are in reverse, and make sure you put the flow direction, and they start to understand it. There's no going back from that. Once it's out there, it's out there. It's getting people to understand it. It's like right in front of their face, and they still can't see it. Like, I watch some channels. It's like, dude, you literally deal with Tesla coils all day, and you can't see this. Like,
well, it's like I forget that channel, but you get people who literally start their videos off these big channels. And just a side note, you cannot violate the laws of thermodynamics. You cannot get more output than input. They start their videos off like that, and I'm like. You're misleading people by saying that at this point, because we have all the evidence saying that that's not the whole picture.
They want to make money more than they care about getting you the truth.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they just said.
Engineering from these guys, they're transmitting energy wirelessly through like lasers and stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, this is cool. But at the end of the day, you're kind of misleading your audience by limiting them to like half of the picture.
Well, they don't. They want to stay in with the mainstream science, so they don't get discredited or shadow banned.
Yes,
they're like
they don't want to get alienated. Yeah,
all that stuff that's happening. So
yeah, that's messed up.
Like I call those people
I can't.
A teacher's pet. Like the teacher.
Yeah, that's a good name for it. Yeah. No, that's exactly what it is.
Willfully ignorant,
or whatever. Yeah,
it's like
just ignorant.
They ask Chat GPT something, and it wrote a script for them, and they regurgitate it, and they get paid.
Yeah,
that's what happens. So, yeah, Tesla didn't like Maxwell's stuff. I'm sorry. There's nothing that I've read in there that says he agreed with any of those guys. As a matter of fact, just the opposite. He he didn't like any of their stuff.
Yeah,
He-
but Maxwell's equations are great. I mean, it's not like a bad thing, but it's just linear algebra. That's all it is. It's
Well,
a,
they're incomplete, aren't they?
well, they don't apply to gravitomagnetism and gravito-electromagnetism and things like that. They're trying to extend it, but it just doesn't work because I tested it and it's not. It's not the testing. The results are not what is predicted by the Maxwell equation. We're using the gravito-electromagnetism
Hmm.
tangent.
Huh,
So
because he didn't understand it. He didn't deal
I
with
know.
cold energy. Cold energy is different. It's a lower value that you put into it, but it's a higher amount of energy you get out of it. So
yeah, but I mean, I'm not criticizing Maxwell here. I'm just saying they're trying to use Maxwell's equation with something that Maxwell was not. The Maxwell equation were not built for. You know, they were not. They were made for electromagnetism, but not gravito-electromagnetism.
I think
So
with Maxwell, he made his equations so complicated that even today most engineers couldn't understand it. Now,
no, but it's not. There's a video that explains Maxwell's equations. It's not very complicated. It's very linear. It's really linear algebra, highly simplified, and he explains it very well. I can send you the link, but it's not like
yeah, I
um,
think where Maxwell kind of went wrong is he didn't really put the heavy side component into his equations, because heavy side was into the electrostatic median. And even Tesla references this. He said, quote unquote, when you start playing with electrostatics, that's where the real magic happens.
mhm,
yeah.
Quote unquote.
that's when this stuff starts to amplify.
Yep.
Oh yeah, because spark gap, electrostatics, and then cold energy, and you have a dynamo,
And
a
look what
massive amount of power.
and look at the suppression that Heaviside had. He was just beaten to a pulp, literally. He went insane.
Well, good luck with that with us, because I think we're all a little insane. We started out that way.
Insane in the membrane.
Sorry, I just look like that.
I just want to give a shout out to Ian. That board that he sent me was absolutely amazing. And I set up my Tesla coil in order to use it, in order to pull the frequency in, because it was 100 kilohertz out.
Yeah.
And I was able to pull it into the right resonance frequency.
Yeah.
So absolutely
Oh.
perfect.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, guys, I think I'm going to end it. It's getting late here. I'm pretty tired. I smashed my hand at work yesterday, so my hand's still swollen. I got a couple of nicks on my hand. I got smashed by a piece of metal yesterday. So,
Every 6 months, he got like a life-threatening injury or something like that.
Oh, real quick, before I forget, Ben, you're getting more energy because you stop the negative from the flow, so it saturates your coil now.
Yep.
And that's what was going on in your circuit. So
Yeah, because it's only the load is only connected to the negative from the battery now. The
Yeah.
negative battery terminal. So that's what's happening? Wow.
yeah, you it's a Joule thief circuit, so you weren't saturating
Yeah.
your coil, so you weren't getting the extra amount of energy that a Joule thief gives you.
Yeah, so it wasn't fully configured properly. I needed to disconnect that.
Yeah, you needed a break in the negative. Now, depending on what energy you have in there, you can just pulse it, and then it'll fill up, then go through, fill up, then go through, fill up. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
like a capacitor almost.
Yeah, you basically want to treat that coil as a capacitor. So now you want to pulse the output of it. You know what I mean? And then you'd be fine, and you can capture the energy.
Yeah, you're getting the
Nice.
inductive reactance.
There you go.
Yeah. So I'm just like a little bit closer. A little bit closer.
Well, I wanted to help you get through it faster so that you understood what was going on. If you just watched that video I sent you on the Joule Thief, you'll absolutely understand it now, because now you're in full saturation of the coil, and it'll tell you exactly how to pulse it out.
Nice. Yeah, I'll have to look at the video again.
Yeah, awesome.
Right
All right,
on.
guys.
It's gonna snow this week in Texas.
What's that?
It's gonna snow in Houston. This like
Oh, nice.
Don't feel bad.
well, yeah, it's us, Canada, sending you snow.
Yeah.
we're everybody beyond excited that it's gonna. You know, we don't see snow that often, so
Yeah.
Even the inauguration is going to be snowing, so they're going to do it inside.
yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Here, like you've got like the whole kids that are planning snow day. You know, like you like where's gloves? Where's my hat? We're like, yeah, I mean here, like it's an exciting Tuesday.
Yeah, we got a
So much for sorry.
We got a polar vortex coming into Ontario next week, supposed to hit -20. I'm not looking forward to it.
Woohoo! All right.
Philip's getting all excited.
Yeah, we need one of those in California right now. Cool it down.
So yeah, the stop.
Yeah, right after the fire burn everything.
Unreal. Anyways, guys, this is a really good stream tonight. Thanks a lot, chat. You were fantastic tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Nathan, you're doing a show tomorrow at 12 Pacific. Or sorry,
Yep. 10
sorry,
a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then it would be 1 o'clock for you.
Eastern, yeah. So check out Nathan, Philip, Ben, Lulu. Everybody, thanks a lot. We'll see everybody next week.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everybody.
Guys, stay on after we go off.
Mañana.